We're going to go back to Mac to find out what happened to all that cooler weather we had.
It was nice while it lasted, right?
It was
Absolutely.
great.
But unfortunately, it is pretty much gone. And the big difference is the winds shifted. We had a north wind for about 3 days. It kept us on the cool side. But all that sort of dropped yesterday, and today we're in the 70s. That's supposed to be in the low 50s just a couple mornings ago. 72 out at the airport. The humidity now back up into the 60s. You'll remember I was telling you 40s is good, 50s is nice, 60s is not the bad, 70s bad. That's humid. So that's what we're looking at this morning as the Gulf air rolls in. We were up at 77 yesterday, and still that was below our seasonal average of 82. Today, yeah, we're back to our more seasonal kind of weather for this time of year. And of course, the big difference, the southeast wind is in at 25 miles an hour, peaking yesterday, and pretty much everybody's got that southeast wind. So the clouds are rolling in, but we don't have any fog just about now. What we do have is just a return to those warm mornings. As you can see, 60s all the way up to North Texas. Now, what's happening here? Well, there's actually a little front right about, it's clearly delineated there, right? 63 in Abilene and 37 in Lubbock. Okay, that little front is just sort of falling apart as it moves into the state. So it is our first focus on clouds and maybe a sprinkle or two. Now, I say a focus because for us, we're at the southern end of it. Most of the activity will be in central Texas. There you see the moisture. It's beginning to get, whenever you see the green, that means that's almost saturation. In other words, that's enough moisture to hopefully trigger some sort of rain. Not so much for our area, but central Texas. And then right about here, interesting little development. You see this little spinning thing here? Right off the California coast is the next storm that's going to roll across the plains. And in 2 or 3 days, this thing's going to be creating violent weather. It's amazing how it starts off as such a little storm and then will just increase over the next couple of days. And here's what I'm talking about. Today is Friday, tomorrow's Saturday. You can see that front that's up in North Texas sort of falls apart right about here. So there is a slight chance of a thunderstorm or two up there. We're way far south, so at best we can see is a sprinkle or a shower at the most, and that would be late tonight. Tomorrow rather. And then the next day, which would be your Sunday, right about here, we've got some big weather from Houston on to Louisiana and all the way across the southeastern states where they're really going to be under the gun for another possible tornado outbreak. So interesting how the weather maps are just kind of moving along and seasons have nothing to do with it. Here's storm number 1 producing snow, as I mentioned, for the Midwest. Kansas, Nebraska got a little dumping of snow. It's now rolling through Illinois. Here's our next big system, and that's the one we're going to be watching really over the next 5 to 7 days. So for us, we'll be warming up into the 70s and 80s. Here's your 7-day forecast, looking at about 88 on Sunday. And that little front falling apart may produce a few sprinkles, and then a couple of dry, nice, warm days. But you see no real cool weather in there at all. That's your 7-day forecast. We'll toss it back to Mike.